Aircraft carriers, the backbone of U.S. military power. Aircraft carriers are more than massive floating cities. They are the epitome of strategic power, freedom of navigation, and global dominance. Their sheer size and capabilities make them symbols of U.S. military might. Yet they are not merely tools of intimidation. They are the linchpins of a doctrine that defines American defense strategy. By law, the U.S. Navy is required to maintain a minimum of 11 operational aircraft carriers. But why 11? What's the significance of this number, and why are these colossal warships so essential to America's military ambitions? The answer reveals a carefully calculated strategy rooted in both historical lessons and future challenges. A global force, the role of aircraft carriers. The United States operates the most formidable navy in the world, yet even a giant must grapple with vulnerabilities. Imagine a champion MMA fighter, capable of defeating an opponent one-on-one, but what happens when confronted by multiple adversaries simultaneously? This analogy mirrors the U.S. military situation in today's increasingly volatile geopolitical landscape. The solution lies in a doctrine called power projection, the ability to project and sustain military force anywhere in the world. With over 750 foreign military bases across 80 countries, the U.S. enjoys an unparalleled global reach. However, when permanent bases are unavailable, whether due to political constraints or geographic limitations, aircraft carriers fill the void. Acting as floating air bases, they offer unmatched mobility, adaptability, and firepower. This makes the question every U.S. president asks during a crisis: where's the nearest aircraft carrier? So pivotal. Why 11 carriers? By federal law, the U.S. Navy is mandated to maintain 11 operational aircraft carriers at all times. This requirement is not an arbitrary number, but the result of strategic planning honed over decades. The 11 carriers support 9 carrier air wings, ensuring that the Navy can simultaneously train, deploy, and maintain global readiness. However, this number doesn't mean all 11 are combat ready at any given moment. Carriers rotate through a rigorous cycle of maintenance, training, and deployment. At any point, roughly 1/3 of the fleet undergoes maintenance, 1/3 prepares through training exercises, and the remaining third actively patrols international waters. In practice, this translates to just 2 or 3 carriers on active deployment at any time. Remarkably, this limited force is designed to be sufficient to fight and win 2 major regional conflicts simultaneously, a hallmark of U.S. military planning since World War II. Historical roots: the 2-ocean Navy. The significance of maintaining 11 carriers is deeply rooted in history. During World War II, the U.S. faced existential threats on 2 fronts: Nazi Germany in Europe and Imperial Japan in the Pacific. Recognizing the need for overwhelming naval power, Congress passed the Vinson-Walsh Act of 1940, also known as the 2-Ocean Navy Act. This legislation expanded the Navy by a staggering 70%, transforming aircraft carriers into the centerpiece of U.S. naval warfare. This 2-front strategy remains a cornerstone of U.S. military doctrine today. By maintaining 11 carriers, the Navy ensures it can project power across the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans simultaneously, responding to crises in Europe, Asia, or the Middle East without overextending its resources. The Carrier Strike Group. More than a lone ship, aircraft carriers don't sail alone. Each operates as the centerpiece of a Carrier Strike Group, CSG, a formidable task force designed to enhance the carrier's capabilities and ensure its protection. A typical CSG includes destroyers, providing air defense and anti-submarine capabilities, cruisers, armed with advanced missile systems for long-range attacks, submarines, offering stealth and underwater offensive power, supply ships, ensuring the group can sustain long missions without relying on land-based resources. This cohesive approach makes the U.S. Navy not just a maritime force, but a mobile, self-sufficient military unit capable of dominating air, sea, and underwater domains. Challenges and calls for expansion. Despite their immense power, the current fleet of 11 carriers is not without its critics. Some defense experts argue that maintaining 13 carriers would be more effective for covering global commitments. Others advocate for expanding the overall Navy to 400 ships, up from the current 290, to counter emerging threats from nations like China and Russia. China, for example, has rapidly modernized its Navy, now boasting more ships than the U.S., though their overall capabilities remain inferior. Beijing's focus on anti-ship ballistic missiles, dubbed carrier killers, poses a direct challenge to U.S. carriers in the Pacific, forcing the Navy to rethink its defensive strategies. Adapting to modern threats. Modern warfare is no longer confined to physical battlegrounds. Emerging threats such as cyber warfare could target a carrier's advanced systems, rendering it vulnerable without a single missile being fired. These invisible battles in cyberspace are as critical as traditional confrontations, prompting the Navy to invest heavily in cyber defense and electronic warfare capabilities. Furthermore, rising costs present another challenge. The latest Gerald R. Ford-class carriers, equipped with state-of-the-art technology, cost approximately $13 billion each, not including the billions needed to equip and maintain them. Critics question whether such investments are sustainable, especially as adversaries develop cheaper, asymmetric strategies to counter carrier dominance. The future of aircraft carriers. Looking ahead, the Navy faces a pivotal decision: adapt or rethink. While aircraft carriers remain central to U.S. military strategy, their role may need to evolve in the face of changing warfare dynamics. Hypersonic missiles, unmanned systems, and artificial intelligence could reshape the battlefield, requiring carriers to integrate new technologies or risk obsolescence. Despite these challenges, one fact remains clear: aircraft carriers are not just tools of war. They are symbols of American resolve. They deter aggression, respond to crises, and ensure the U.S. maintains its status as a global superpower. For now, the Navy's 11 carriers continue to patrol the world's oceans, a testament to the enduring value of power projection in a turbulent world. Conclusion: more than just warships. Aircraft carriers are far more than floating fortresses. They are the embodiment of strategic dominance and the backbone of America's ability to project power anywhere, anytime. As the world becomes more unpredictable, their importance grows. However, with rising costs, evolving threats, and calls for modernization, the U.S. Navy must carefully navigate the challenges of the 21st century. The question is, how will these symbols of power evolve to meet the demands of tomorrow's battles? What do you think? Should the U.S. Navy expand its carrier fleet, or should it explore alternative strategies? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more insights into the cutting-edge technology and strategies shaping global military power.